you bow our heads in prayer, please? Almighty God, we here today, we thank you for life, we thank you for health, all of our strength. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy. And Lord, we ask that you would come in this room and help us with this meeting tonight. Bless those that are here. We ask you for your wisdom, we ask for your guidance now. Help us now, Lord God, to serve in a way that is pleasing to you and that is blessing to the community that we serve. We thank you and we praise you and ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Attention, salute, flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jacob.
Present.
Ms. Lloyd Short.
Present.
Ms. Betty Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Craig Gill.
Yeah.
Mr. Rex McCarthy. Mayor Jackie Johnson.
First item on our agenda today is public hearing for the fiscal year 2016, 2017, Community Development Block Grant. Mr. McGee, would you? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Joseph McGee. I work with Fry McGee. This is the first time I've been in Winsboro, but we've been working here for quite a while. And our first item today is we need to select the type of project that we're going to do for the 16-17 grant cycle. And our options are $1 million for sewer treatment, $800,000 for new sewer collection, $800,000 for existing sewer collection rehab, $800,000 for potable water, $500,000 for water for fire protection, $600,000 for streets, and $250,000 for demonstrated needs, and $500,000 for LaStep. And we just have to today select the type of project we're going to do. It doesn't have to be narrowed down any farther than that. Just, you know, we're going to do sewer, streets.
Okay.
Yeah, just Mayor and Council, one thing that we had talked about before, the last few cycles, what we've done is we've applied for the streets. We've applied for streets, and we've used the city's sales tax funds in conjunction with that to really boost our applications. And we've been fairly successful with that. Now, the last two cycles we've done that, and it's not gotten funded. And Joe can tell you that they've really almost written streets out of the CDBG program. They've put it on the same ranking with all of the others. And they said in a meeting here a month or so ago, CDBG basically stated that they see streets as a lower priority than water and sewer projects. So that being said, streets are no longer a very fundable application. So we're trying to steer our clients away from that. With that being said, we got with Mr. Skipper and the mayor previously. I know y'all, there are some lift stations in the town that were put in back in the 80s, somewhere time in that time frame, that need to be rehabilitated. So I got with Mr. Skipper and got a list of those. And working with Fry McGee, we came up with an application that we think would be beneficial for the town and would have a good opportunity to be funded. It's the map that I passed out for you, and I'm sorry, it was kind of a rush job. It's very small, but basically there's 4 lift stations that we would include in this project. One is on Evadale. Another is a big Motel Owens station that's right across from the motel there at the little park. And then Earl Drive lift station, and also Pinecrest. At the very end of Pinecrest, and that picks up Pinecrest and West Harper. But those are the 4 stations that we were looking at as part of this application. And I believe that would be the best alternative from what we've discussed so far that would for this application. Anything y'all want? Any questions you have, or anything you want to add to that?
Yes, I would ask Skipper, as far as, and I don't have a list of all those projects that you named for us, but prioritizing, what do you say, Mr. Superintendent, as to what needs to be looked at first?
I got with Heath, and that's what we come up with on the sewer project, this right here. I believe sewer is our main, pumping stations are our main issue right now. If we don't we don't get a little bit of help to spend money on this now, then it's gonna be out of pocket against the town on down the line.
Thank you. And you had mentioned, is there a dollar figure on that you mentioned? He went down a lot, 800,000.
Limit on that is 800,000. For a preliminary estimate, I'd put it somewhere in the 550 to 600 range.
All right.
Very preliminary estimate.
Yeah, sure. Not gonna hold you to it.
And another item we need to discuss as far as the public hearing is concerned is the city would be willing to pay for consultants and engineers. And if you do pay, it builds points in the scoring system through the state. You would get 1 point for paying for consultants and 1 point for paying for engineers. It's totally up to y'all, but it does help you get funded by paying for those points.
Is that a percentage of the project? How's that work?
It, like last go around, I think it was 63 points total, and 2 points went towards, if you paid for consultants and engineers, that gives you 2 extra points. And I mean, a lot of them that got funded paid for both consultants and engineers. I mean, it's really hard not to get funded without putting.
My question though is dollars and cents rather than points. If it's a $600,000
Oh, no,
project,
for
we looking at
consultants, it would be a
10%?
set rate. It would be $36,400 for consultants.
That's for you.
Yeah, that's for consultants.
That's for him, that's just for him. That doesn't include the engineering fees. The engineering fees are based on a fee curve, same way you work with any other funding agency. It depends on the size of the project. Before I came, I didn't look to see ballpark what that would be. I would expect somewhere in the probably $50,000 to $60,000 range. One thing that I discussed this with the mayor last time, and Mr. Skipper, you can correct me if I'm wrong, y'all had included or were looking at including some funds to replace pumps and controls in these lift stations in the upcoming budget.
Correct.
What I had spoken to the mayor about was the possibility of if y'all decide to commit to paying the consultant and the engineering fees going into the project. If the project isn't funded, then you've got that in your budget that you could go back and do the repairs that you had planned to do for the stations. I don't know if you had gotten dollar values for those.
I don't think I had, but I think we got some of it.
Okay. But that would be one way to work it in there. If the project doesn't get funded, you're not out of pocket for anything for us. It's only if the project gets funded, so you could go ahead and apply that to doing the minor repairs that you would be able to do with that amount of money.
There were some numbers and some that we got this week.
I couldn't hear you, Kay.
I said there were some numbers in something that we received this week. In the email. I think. $35,000 plus $1,400 for pre-agreement costs is $36,400.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Will there be any displacements in fixing this?
No, ma'am. There shouldn't be any displacement as far as housing goes, should there?
No.
Okay. That was just listed on the things to be discussed.
Well, that's just one of their items the state lists, but I mean, there's never, as far as I've known, been anybody displaced by one of these projects, ever. But far as paying for engineers and consultants, y'all don't have to make that decision tonight. That can be made at a later date. The main thing today is just basically to select a project, and y'all can let us know if y'all decide to pay, that's fine. If not, we'll go through the procurement process. That's totally up to y'all. That's all I have for tonight.
So, Superintendent, if I may, will you state your recommendation to the council?
My recommendation, would be to entertain a motion to go for this block grant.
And are we going to specify?
For sewer, yes.
So I move that we accept the recommendation of our superintendent for this block grant.
Been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Go to the regular meeting first.
Excuse me?
Don't we need to get out of the public hearing into the regular meeting?
Oh, do we tell? Close the hearing? Okay.
Yeah, wait till we
I take
public
my
hearing
back.
and then take it
I
up.
take it back.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing and go into our regular meeting.
Second. Second.
Properly moved and second. Favor, say aye.
Then I restate my motion I said earlier.
Yeah. So motion's been made, is there a second? Ms. Betty seconded.
Okay. All in favor? Say aye. Let the record reflect that it's unanimously approved. Public comments. At this point, there's an opportunity to comment on any item that is on the agenda. In business that we have. For any item that's on the agenda, yes ma'am.
Yes, sir. I just have some, I'd like to clarify with communicating with the council, the implementation of the ordinance, some things concerning the Humane Department. Would it be more appropriate until that report is given and whatever discussion is held, and then if I still have questions, I could ask it at that point?
I would recommend that you take that up with the committee first, before you come before the council. At this point, we're only dealing with items that are presently on the agenda now.
I have met with Miss Betty last week. Miss Betty is on my committee and we met. And because we had a rather emergency situation, in my opinion, when we continue to have a list of dogs going to Ouachita Parish. And the reason is that the interpretation of the ordinance, the implementation of the ordinance is being held to a strict implementation. And what I'm asking for is some flexibility and some reason to be used in implementing the policy. Because
Ms. Kimbrough, that is not on the agenda this evening.
you just
We can only make
opened up some
comments.
public comments.
You're only allowed to make comments of items that are on the agenda. I'm sorry.
And the Humane is not on the agenda? The Humane?
Just a report. Just a report.
And Kim, if you want to get on the agenda and set an item, that'll be fine. but
I
it's
make
not
a
on there
motion
tonight.
that we amend the agenda to discuss the dog kennel.
You're going to add that?
No. Just those items that are on the agenda.
I second that.
It is open to the public to
Well, they want
discuss.
to amend the agenda. They want to amend the agenda.
I want to amend the agenda to discuss,
I second that.
Craig seconded.
It's properly moved and second to amend the agenda to discuss the item of Humane.
Set it at the end of the meeting. They need to vote on it.
I first and second.
We're not going to be voted on. We're going to allow it to be
I have a first and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record reflect that unanimously approved. Now,
Thank you, council, and I'll try to be brief. I did make some notes, and the first item is just what I stated, that I'm concerned about a strict implementation of the dogs being held a certain number of days, regardless of how much room is available in the pens. There are 28 pens, and according to my last visit down there, 16 pens were empty. Now, we did not have a list.
do you have another one?
Yes, sir. Don't count this on my time now.
Excuse me?
Don't make the clock run out on me getting the list.
I was gonna say, he's got it.
I got it. Russ is not here. He was here. I had explained to the mayor in a visit to his office that everything, in my opinion, is much more important and critical when we have a list, what we call a list, which means that dogs are scheduled. I'm generally notified on a Friday that the following Friday, a certain number of dogs will be taken to Ouachita Parish, and then they are, I'm sorry, they are put to sleep. They don't baby them and rock them up there. They put them to sleep. The morning after they're dropped off, before the facility opens to the public, the police jury guys, before they go out on the road, they euthanize dogs. And they don't hold, Ouachita does not hold dogs from other towns, whether it's Wisner or City of Winsboro, because those dogs have already been held in the city facility. They have no other time. Now, I did, for this dog, call and beg. This dog was taken up there along with a pit bull the same day this one actually went. And I called because a lady came through at the last minute and did agree to adopt this dog. So I called Roger and he pulled the dog, saved it for us until the next day. So this one was saved, but I'd like for y'all to just look at these pictures to see the kinds of dogs. This is why it's a little it's very disturbing to me. The type of animals that we're talking about, these are not rabid dogs that are foaming at the mouth and ready to attack somebody's neck. These are lovable, adoptable dogs that there's nothing wrong with them. Physically now, at one time we had a lot of sickness in the pens, but now everybody's healthy. You can see the dogs with the children who love them. And all I'm asking for is a little extra time.
I'm not aware of it. Very nice to me.
This is actually the list that I work off of. I made a grid on my computer that showed every single pen. There are 8 pins across, top and bottom, and then the last 4 pins on the west side bottom were modified to hold the bigger dogs. So there are 4 pins rather than the 8. But y'all can pass that down. Each time a dog came out, I put the E on there to indicate that the pen no longer has an animal in it. So I think there should be 16 empty pens, last I heard. So that's my first request, is for the council to give some flexibility and some leeway, because the animal control officer feels like he will get in trouble if the dog is out of time and he holds it, that he's going to get in trouble. And so
what you're asking of us tonight is that we will allow more time between taking the dogs to Monroe if we've got more space, empty space up there.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you asked?
Yes, ma'am. And maybe to give a certain number of pins. I mean, there are 28 pins up there. Another thing that I try to do, y'all realize I have a full-time job. And this is another full-time job. And what I try to do is be proactive in my spare time. These puppies were born in the pen on March 25th. And we're still up there, finally old enough to be weaned from the mother. So I told Russell, can we please not have a kill list so I can please post these dogs? There won't be an emergency to say that there have been 5 to 6 dogs every week, and I can give you the exact list. And so he did get us a break, and 4 of these 5 puppies were adopted last week, which is great for the puppies, but it's also great for the city program because it keeps, at that point, at some point, they have to get off the mama. And where are they going to go? They're going to fill up all those empty pens. And so I'm working myself to death. And when we have no flexibility in the taking them to Ouachita Parish program, it's killing me. I went on my lunch hour a week ago and picked up the dog, Black Lab, it's in those pictures, that couldn't wait another day, had to go. So I went on my lunch hour and pulled the dog because I can't live with myself if we kill something that there's nothing wrong with him. And now he plays with my grandchildren. I mean, I'm not keeping him. Anybody need a Black Lab? He's already neutered. But that's our program, is to get them out, vaccinate, deworm, acclimate to a home environment, and rehome them. Spay and neuter the dogs and rehome them. So that's the first item. The second item is I requested time and time again to vaccination records for the ones that were coming out. And they were always locked up and we didn't have access to them for some reason. Well, when I finally got one, I got the vaccination record for this last one that I pulled last Monday morning. And we might want to have the vet, and I'm not critiquing or anything, but the vet has told me you need to keep a record of both stickers, and there was only one sticker on the paper. Just to have, I wonder
Kimberly,
if...
got one more minute.
Are the dogs being routinely vaccinated and dewormed? Is the veterinarian assisting in the monitoring the pens? He promised to do routine visits, I think monthly visits, or is that happening? How often are the pictures being updated on the website? To my knowledge, they did get a few of them, got updated last week, in the last week or two. But it shows 20 pens empty on the website, I believe. Has anybody looked lately? Most of them are shown empty, which is incorrect, and you can see that by my grid, which I do need back because I'm still working off of that. And the first picture that I gave, we do this one. We try to get up there ourselves, but we're only being allowed in right now on Saturday morning for 2 hours. And that's not always enough time, number one, and everybody can't always be there, number two. So if we could have additional time, when are the pens supposed to be open? This is a very important point. When are the pens open to the public? Because I have 2,600 people on Facebook that watch our page, and I'm steady telling them that the pens are open daily, weekdays, from noon until 2 so that they can go up there. And if they're not going to be open, I'm going to stop sending people up there. And it's more critically important for the pens to be open and the telephone calls to be answered and returned. If he's unavailable, I understand, but please return the calls when there is a kill list.
So the pens aren't open daily?
The mayor and council had discussed with us, the committee, and with Russell, the ACO, that they would be open from 12 until 2 weekdays. so that the public could make plans and know when they would be able to get in and look at the dogs available for adoption.
Right.
Now, sometimes I'll go up there. Monday, when I got up there to get the dog, I have a picture of the front of my truck with the clock and the gate locked, that it was not open.
What time was
So,
that, Ms. Kimbrough?
It was 1:25.
Was he out on a call or something, or?
There are two people. The purpose, we were told, another benefit of having another person in the department, which years ago, I was bending over backwards to make this department not even cost any money. Doing benefits to get the food donated. I came up with a program to get all of the vaccinations at no cost to the city, which by the way is still happening. The city doesn't pay for those vaccinations. That comes out of the money that I generated through that spay neuter program. So, and now we've got another person, so we have two salaries. You, the city, has two salaries coming out of that, and so part of the justification was that we would always have someone available at those pens during the posted hours. One person could go on the call, or the person and the inmate could go on the call, and someone could be there.
Well, I thought that's why we hired Bobby, was for him to be there the 4 hours Saturday and Sunday, and, 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday, and then 4 hours on Tuesday and 4 hours on Thursday. Is he not doing that?
Humane, man is not here.
I don't know.
I can tell you for a fact, we have not walked dogs during the week since last summer.
This is the first time.
Have you gone up there to walk them since then?
Well, no, ma'am, because we knew that they weren't going to need us to let us in, and we have no access to the facility. Now, they have been letting us walk on Saturday morning. It was from 10 to 12, but we moved it up from 9 to 11, which is fine, as long as we know when it would be open, and that has been happening. That's fine. But like I say, when the pens are full, there are 28 dogs, and they have new dogs, and we're trying to get accurate information to make somebody fall in love with this dog, have a connection with it, not the blurry picture that I sent you at the top of the dog's head. That's what we were given. And then when the dog came out, that's the picture of that dog on its way back to Winsboro from Washita Parish when it was taken to be put to sleep. And the first blurry picture is the picture we were provided to try to find it a home. So, thank you, council and mayor, for allowing me some time, because it's impossible to communicate and let you know what goes on in reality and the challenges that we face. If I didn't have anything else to do, this would be a lot easier on me, but my blood pressure is just about to blow up, because I do have a full-time job and 5 grandchildren. It's graduation time for me too. We're all busy. And first of all, the stress of putting to sleep healthy animals is overwhelming for those of us who love animals. And second of all, we need to be able to communicate with the council, with the committee. Miss Betty is in town, so she's easier to get. It's almost impossible for Rex to ever meet with me because of his schedule. So possibly we need to have a change in our committee members. I appreciate what Rex does, and he is great when he comes, but it's very hard to get him there. But communication is really important, and as I say, when there is a kill list, everything is that much more important, because there's a deadline. Come Friday, the truck's loaded. I've been down there at the facility with a man on his way from Monroe to pick up a dog, and I was told he's got another 5 minutes. That always happens on time. We always pull out of here on time on Friday to go to Washita Parish, but nothing else happens on time. The vaccinations don't happen on time. The deworming, how many days are they being dewormed? With Panicure or Safeguard, which is an oral dewormer, it's supposed to be 3 days in a row. I don't know the answers to that, and all of that's not my responsibility anymore. When I had a key to the pen, I saw to it that it was done on time, it was done correctly, the right amount. They got it, it didn't go out on the ground. But now I'm just trying to manage it with everything else that I do and keep the dogs alive, and I appreciate anything that you could do to help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Yes.
Kim, we're gonna look into this, the questions that you have asked on here. We're gonna get together and look into them, and we're gonna figure out a way where we can meet with you, other volunteers, more than what's been being done.
Thank you.
And we're gonna try and see, Mayor, stop me if I'm going too far here.
Excuse me?
The pens are open to the public. We're gonna try and see if we can't fix that where the public can come. And the volunteers. And on this, let me look at this one right here. All animals expected to be vaccinated upon entry to the facility. Okay, we need to find out. We need to know if the veterinarian is still visiting and how often that he's coming, and we're gonna try and do that. And maybe the mayor will appoint somebody else, even if it's not me, to be on this committee that will meet with them and try to find an answer better than what we're doing. I mean, you can move me off of it, but I think we need to, something we need to look
Well, I
at.
don't think it's you, that there needs to be two, and Rex is not able to meet and talk to Russell.
Might be in the summer.
What?
He may be when school's out.
Yeah. I just thought all that when we hired Bobby, that this was gonna rectify all of this situation.
Yeah, I
Or
really
the most
thought
of
we
it.
wouldn't have all these questions.
I really did. I thought that's what the purpose was, so. But our humane officer's not here, so let's, like, I'm with Miss Betty, let us get with him, get the answers to the questions, and then we will.
Rather than leaving it open-ended, can we give Ms. Kimbrough a projected date where we'll give her some answers? We're gonna try and do this within 2 weeks or one, or before the next
Whenever the
killing
mayor
starts?
says that we can meet with, whenever the mayor tells us we can meet with them and put somebody else on this committee other than Miss Betty. And then I would feel better pushing somebody else, pushing the job, rather than being the one to do it. But I can really get behind it and push. Mhm. So what we're looking at is getting not two, because Rex is still, but getting another person in my place, replacing Miss Betty. And whomever we get, we need to, like Craig say, go on and get this behind us. Meet with them in 2 weeks and decide if we're gonna change this or not change it, but fix it where where everybody can feel okay about it. Not good, but okay.
Russell and I
Well-
don't belong. I said, that leaves me out.
I
I said, Russell and I never saw eye to eye on this, so.
I hear you, and I will meet with all parties who are concerned, and I will make a decision once I did that. What is best for the city of Winsboro.
I think Ms. Betty's
Once,
doing a good job.
Some of the things, that that I've heard this evening. It's, I'm surprised that I have not witnessed this, nor have I had any clue, you know, that this is going on. So you're going to have to give me an opportunity to do a little investigating to find out exactly, you know, what is the status of our humane department. I agree with you that I agree with Mrs. Kimbrough that you know, we have taken another person on, you know, to fix the problem that she's discussing right now. And if that isn't working, maybe we don't need, you know, the additional assistance. And it's something, you know, I'm just throwing something out. So I will look into these items myself personally, and I will let the council know my finding. Okay. Okay. Item number 3. Ms. Tanya Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Clerk, Chief, and the Council Board. I'm not going to hold you long. I'm simply here just to piggyback on the presentation that I done in November about changing those city ordinances that we discussed.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Tanya. Attorney.
You can give them mine.
Okay, sorry about that, I didn't make enough copies. But I just wanted to give the council and the mayor notes about the Sunday sales. The Sunday sales is doing well since we have added that change and allowing the community to make those purchases here. Not only of the sales, but the gas sales also on Sundays are better as well with that change that we made. So I just simply wanted to piggyback on the 6%. From my last presentation, we talked about how that 6% city ordinance was hindering the city, which is not allowing restaurants to be built here because of these city ordinance that's intact. So I just basically have a request for the council board to add that changing the 6% law, adding it to the voters ballot to allow the community to vote on that change and to help us get those restaurants built that we're trying to get built here in the city of Winsboro.
Tanya, you're asking about the sale of alcohol beverages with high alcohol content
110.
in restaurants?
Yes, sir.
What we did, and I reported back to the council on it, we had 2 issues we were looking at. Could the council change the ordinance to allow the sale on Sundays of what we're doing right now? And that, after researching the law plus checking with LMA and the Attorney General's office, the conclusion was that the city council could change the operating hours of the establishments that are already here. What you're asking for is going to take a petition drawn up by concerned citizens and signed by concerned citizens. At least 25% of the registered voters have to sign this petition. Then they bring it to the council. But the council can't vote to put it on the ballot.
Right, but with my original presentation, I had the signatures done with all 3 of the ordinance that the community was interested in changing.
It has to be petitioned just right. You have to put in there exactly what you want to put on the ballot. You have to get a list of exactly like it appears with the voter registrar. Addresses, you have to check to be sure when people sign their name, they sign it exactly like it appears at the registrar of voters office.
Right.
They have
It's a lot
each
more than
signature
just
has
passing
to be
something around and getting 200 people to sign it. You've got to be sure they're residents of the town of Winsboro.
Right.
And it's a little more complicated than the first thing you asked to do. The first thing was a city council decision to change operating hours. But what you're asking for is to change the whole granting of a permit,
Right.
which requires a referendum of the voters to do that. They voted in certain sales, types of sales, and the sale of alcoholic beverages of high content in restaurants is a special permit, and the voters have to vote that in. So you've got to do a little more work. You're going to have to get an attorney or check with I guess the Alcohol and Tobacco Board, whoever, about drafting this petition.
Because
And-
I go up there to the courthouse to get information all the time, and it's like, you know, I'm always directed somewhere else, but not to the person or the place I need to be to make it happen, you know, and I talk to attorneys about this matter and everything. And that's what I thought with the original petition that was done, that we were making some leeway with that one, but I mean,
You'll have to, you know, and the truth of the matter is, a council member, he can sign the petition and he could be a part of the group, but actually he can't be he can't act in his capacity as a council member. The petition is brought to the council and the council takes the necessary actions to have it put on the ballot.
okay, so if I go back, get my signatures again, get the change documented exactly how it should be, come back to the council board, present that information, you know, could we step forward into?
Sure. And you've got to have the exact number or a few more than what the number requires.
Okay.
And then the council has no choice.
I
They have
think
to
the
put it
register
on.
of voters has to verify the signatures.
Yeah,
of
the
the
registrar of voters would have to verify that the signatures are correct.
So we-
See, if I signed it, I'm not a resident of the city of
Right.
Winsboro. So
So what
I
you're
can't
saying
be counted.
is somebody that's not a registered voter for our community can't sign? Is that? Okay, so it has to be only the people that's registered here.
And that lives in the city limits.
And that's why your committee or your group, they need to be organized and everybody have a copy of all the voters, names of all the voters.
Okay,
And they be sure that that person is signing it and he's signing it just as it appears on the voter registration roll. So it's a little more than just passing around to get people to sign.
and that was the process at first, which I thought, I mean, because I don't have any other way. Where do I get a list of the registered voters here?
From the registrar of voters.
Okay, because
They'll print
they
it
don't
out.
give me nothing there.
Secretary of
Yeah,
State.
They don't
Secretary
give
of
me-
State, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's the
It's
problem,
Secretary.
but they do not want to give me no information
They
there.
stopped it.
Well,
Oh,
They-
okay. They got it in the secretary.
Told us when we were running for office, you go to the Secretary of State website.
Is that where you
and
get
do
it now? But the registrar of voters
The B court out,
will
right?
check it once they get it, okay?
Yeah, the register of voters checks it afterwards.
Exactly. Yes,
Before
I
it
just
comes to.
wanted to mention to Ms. Smith, our legal counsel is a brilliant, brilliant man. But I wouldn't go through all the work that he just kind of talked about until you contacted maybe the ATF or some other agency that is very familiar with how you do that. So don't go out there and do a bunch of stuff that somebody's going to say, oh no, this is wrong. So please make some contacts and make sure, if you're going to put forth the effort, make sure you put forth the effort.
and let me recommend that you get with an attorney general. Okay.
Well, I can't prepare for them.
It's worth the information
Yeah,
that she
yeah,
gave.
if you'll get with an attorney or a person that's helping you, the petition needs to be worded just right. And just exactly what you want on the ballot. And that's the way it will appear on the ballot, say next fall when we have an election.
So what is the time frame that I have to get something on the voters ballot for this?
When's our next election?
October?
Yeah. So you got time, yeah. Because we wouldn't call a special election for this.
Right.
We
Because this
want it put on the
business.
next election. You think it's in October?
I think so, when the governor.
Yeah. Yeah, when the governor's election takes place, that'd be a good time to put it on.
And actually, it's a good thing, because you go into it knowing if you have enough people in support of the transformation, or if you don't have enough. And if you don't have enough, there's no sense putting it on the ballot.
Right.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Yeah.
See, that's the time
That's on the record.
Yeah, $2,000, that'd be 25, 500 people that on the petition.
Item number 4. Approves the minutes of the April meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of April.
Been properly moved
Second.
and second. All in favor, say aye. Resolution number 15-0501, adoption of millage rates for the tax year of 2015. Mr. Dillon.
Mayor, you have a resolution there. I think that Julia is prepared. We do this every year. Our millage rate is staying the same. It'll be 8.04. It's required by law that we adopt the millage, and that's what we're doing here.
Stay the same.
Stay the same.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 15-0501, setting the millage for the city of Winsboro at 8.040.
Been properly moved
Second.
and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that it was unanimously approved.
Thank you very much.
You're very
So
welcome.
sweet to the point.
Resolution number 15-0502, Meyer, Texan.
The resolution is to award the 2015 Street Improvements Project. We opened our bids on that Thursday. The low bidder was Amethyst Construction. 1.37, almost $3.76 million, which was actually below the budget. I know, actually had bids come in within budget. Actually, it was about $100,000 below the budget, so we were excited about that. We're asking y'all to move forward. Amethyst Construction is a competent contractor. They did 2 of the last 3 street projects for us. I think they did 2 of them, and then somebody else did the 1. But feel very comfortable moving forward with them and asking the city to make that motion.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm all over the place, seemingly around our same lines that we're talking about streets. I see these little orange things sticking up everywhere. What do they do? What's happening there?
Bob Roberts.
Okay, so that's the new U-verse stuff that they're putting in. Okay, no wonder my internet don't work half the time. All right, so it has nothing to do with this project. Not gonna help us or hurt us at all.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 15-0502, awarding Amethyst Construction for the total base bid of $1,375,965.
Properly moved. And second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have that same right. Let the record reflect that it was unanimously approved.
Do you want me to go ahead?
Yes, please.
Do a roll
Go ahead.
call? Just very, very quick, the other projects we have going on, the 2015 water main relocation project is under construction as of May 6th. Of course, that one was to get the water lines out of the way in preparation for the street project. That puts their time, it's a 2-month contract time, so July they should be finished up. We'll probably start the street project sometime mid-June, and we'll just work where they ain't. For the Adams and Common Street sidewalk project, we still haven't received the DOTD comments from the plan in hand, so we're moving forward. We're going to resubmit next week with or without them. And then we'd already talked about the 2015 LCDBG application, and that's it for my report. Do y'all have any questions? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Airport manager. Volk, I'm sorry. You got it up.
Good evening, you all.
Hello. Good evening.
I represent Volker. Just want to give you guys an update status of consultant work we provided for the airport. First one, out of 3. First one, we had the rehab of the AG apron. All the work is complete. We're waiting on the FAA to approve the amendment for project overruns, which is approximately about $33,000. And Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development has tentatively approved the state match. The second one was the runway lighting. All work is complete on that project. And we're working on closeout documents. The final closeout and invoices are to be submitted by the end of the month. And once that's done and approved, we'll be finished with that project. And third that we had on the item was the obstruction removal, which we're providing, removing items that are obstructing the runway or pilots or things of that nature, and plus, as well as doing a survey on the property. So the survey work is to be complete this week, and we're moving into the appraisal phase. So once all these projects that we had are done, they do the survey, they do appraisal of the property, and obviously we're very optimistic that from the appraisal that it's going to be more valuable than it was when we first started. That concludes my report. Any other questions?
What is your pleasure? Council members.
I make a motion, we accept your report as read.
Been properly moved to accept the report.
I'd like to amend the motion to accept Volker report and Meyer report as well.
Good. Thank you.
That's good.
Been properly moved and amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record reflect that both reports have been approved.
Yeah, he made the amended and I seconded it. It doesn't matter.
Item number 8, airport manager, Brother George Barrington.
My wife told me that this past week was 1 year that I've been with y'all, so she's always correct. Happy birthday. Anyway, I've been here a year and I've learned a lot. I've really learned we have a good town, and I'm not just saying that. We've got people I meet every Monday morning, the mayor and the committees, and it's quite an organization. once you get to see it firsthand, you realize what it takes to operate a city. And I'm real proud to be part of that. I think it's well-run. When you're dealing with water and sewer and everything, it's amazing the things that have to be done. So I just wanted to put that little plug in there. Also, I want to say that we had our annual inspection of our airport. Robert Sehan, who is the head inspector for the Department of Aviation for Louisiana, did the inspection. I'm not sure why he came, but he was the head man. And he told me that in the past, when he would come, he would fly here, bringing dignitaries, of whom I think some were governors, etc. And he said, I was ashamed for them to see all the junk here and then have to go into a building that wasn't very nice. So he commented very highly that we have a very nice facility. Our little building is nice. We have some accommodations in there for everyone. So I'm proud to say that we have at least reached partially that goal, that our airport be very presentable. In the report, some things like we have to do some new stripings on the taxiway, spray some grass in certain places, fill some ruts. And it's not real complicated, so I'm working with him now to make those corrections. And it's no problem. We have a high grade, I'll just say it like that. I think everything's pretty good. We're having signs made, and I started running off the signs, that is the papers to show you their signs. On the big building, it'll be Winsboro Municipal Airport. On the small building, y'all have passed a resolution that it be a memorial building to Ray Clausen and John Adams. So we have, the letters are already made by a company, and next week there will be placed on the buildings. So it's going to say Winsboro Municipal Airport, and then Clausen Adams Memorial Building. And I want to say there, in all my tenure at the airport, I've never seen any signs whatsoever that said that it was Winsboro Airport. When pilots land, they just had to guess, look from the water tower. So we're going to have our new signs up next week for that. Our door for our shop has come in. Skipper's checked on a couple of people for installation. So that part of it will be finished soon, hopefully. And then we will begin renting it to Dr. Guerreras, our surgeon. And we're supposed to receive like $400 a month for that. So that's going to be some good income for the town. Our fuel system is doing real good. We've sold, in the period since we got our pumps going, about 18,000 gallons. $18,000 worth of fuel, about 4,300 gallons of fuel, I think. So fuel is doing real good. We have it on major networks. When people are flying, they check the networks to see the lowest fuel, and we are still low fuel in Louisiana, and people are dropping in buying fuel. So real proud of that. And then lastly, from a lady's perspective, I asked Martha Burnside, who is the head of the Garden Club, for those of you who know her, to come look at our airport. And from a lady's perspective, you know what, when somebody drives up, what would look good here, be attractive, first things you see. So she came out and looked at everything, and she said that the Garden Club would be interested in adopting our airport to help beautify and keep it up and so forth. So I'm real proud of that. We're going to be going that way. And I told her, I said, you do know this is high publicity. She said, that's what we want. So we're going to be working on that to make it look better. And I'll quickly say this, and I'll be closing, but she said, you know, we're a flag town, red, white, and blue. She said, what I want is when you pull up, you're going to see the flag town, red, white, and blue, and so forth. And then the mayor also had me to talk to her about them looking at and see what can be done at the dog pound to make it look much better. And the Garden Club is very interested to see what they can do out there. And that's on another side, you know, from the part you were talking about. They're real interested in making it attractive in the community. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Brother George. Where's your pleasure?
I'm going to accept the Reverend Farrington's report.
Me too.
Properly moved
Yes, sir.
and second. All in favor, say aye.
I'd like to say one thing if I could.
Sure.
We were invited to a meeting out there last month. If you haven't seen our airport, you need to drive out there and see it. It is breathtaking as far as what they've done, as far as cleanup. I was just awed at everything that has taken place, and from the first time I saw it to that, it's not even the same two places. And, you know, Dr. Gratera, is that how you say his name?
It's close.
Close. He was telling us that day about a program of flights that he has going out. I met somebody at a family reunion that he had taken to New York. No, to New Orleans, I'm sorry, not New Orleans. He's in New York now, he flew out there, commercial, but this doctor flew him to New Orleans for his visit, rented a car at his own expense, and took that man to the doctor. That is going to be a real program that he is going to see happen. And it's very heartwarming that he chose Winsboro to make his home base in doing that.
Okay.
And now we can vote.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record reflect that unanimously approved. Public Works monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We've been busy, started this last week on utility relocation with the contractor, trying to help keep that project going, keep it straight. Kept our water and sewer crews busy. We've been busy cutting grass, which is never anything this time of year. Rain going on, we've just been doing the best we could. I'm gonna tell you, it's been a battle, but those guys, they stay after it, they got looking good. We set up a 5K glow run this past couple of weeks ago, and we set up a graduation this last week, so they've been busy doing that also. We're starting this, supposed to start today, get the pools ready. Due to the rain, we prolonged that may start tomorrow, but if the rain continues, we may have to work for Saturday to get it going. Just trying to get that in between rain showers. We've completed work on a building, the old Catfish Festival room in the back, storage for buck storage, we completed it this past week. And we also been working on getting the items the auditor wanted us to do at City Hall for some of the security in there. So that's the completion of my report, Mayor.
Thank you. What is your pleasure? Thank you, Skip.
I don't know if it's really a comment or a statement, but I asked Julia for some information about what the amount of money that the pools are generating. And there were days last year that there would be 4 and 5 children in the pools. Do we ever use that on-the-job training or anything like that to help pay for this? To where, I mean, we're spending a lot of money for 5 kids to swim. Because we're paying all the lifeguards and everything. Isn't there, have we looked at trying to get help
How do you mean, Jay?
well, like OJT? When I was growing up, and Coach Murphy was over this pool over here, all the kids that sat around were paid by the OJT program. And that's whenever we were at the police jury.
You know that program is not even existing anymore.
Well,
Some-
they're paying 90% of the
Some
health.
phases, I mean, for the children.
Okay,
uh, it was a heck of a good program.
it was. And, I mean, I have an employee now that is on an OJT program, and they're paying 90% of her salary. And that's, you know, my mind is clicking when I'm sitting there looking through those receipts and seeing 5 kids and 7 kids and 12 kids, you know, and we're spending lots and lots and lots of money just for that few number of children to be using, and this is both pools. This is not just one pool or the other, this is both pools.
I pulled those records that Fayette sent to each of us, and I was looking at them too, Kay.
But how often, I mean, how many months are we paying them? It's not like, okay, not like year
It's not
round.
really-
It's just on,
It's
Just
just
on the
July,
summer
it's like
months.
June
Right.
and July.
But it is a lot of money.
and the,
Last year was $40,000.
Somehow,
It was about $40,000 last year.
just for the pools.
Just for
The whole program.
the
The whole program.
summer
Oh,
work.
okay.
That'd be baseball, that's for baseball.
Yeah, that was a whole youth program. That's a lot more.
Do we have an athletic director?
it's an area that I'm going to have to address. It's an area that, we do have one, answer your question. But it's an area that it needs addressing, and I'm about to.
Can you address it and maybe let us know what you come up with at our next meeting?
Excuse me?
Can you address it and maybe come up with a report to give us at our next
Yes,
meeting?
yes.
I appreciate that. Okay, so do we need a motion to accept his, I make a motion to accept the Public Works monthly report.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 10, Fire Chief monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Update, we're still staying on top of our training. I want to go on the record and thank Skipper and his crews for helping us with our remodel there at the fire department on a radio room. We've got this 700 radio system going in. They have actually started today installing the radio. And the good thing about it, what I explained to Skipper and a couple of others that I think the mayor, what monies that we have spent on that radio room. It's actually, we're going to recoup that money through that radio grant. It will actually not cost us a dime. So we come out good on that. Like I said, right in the middle, looks like a tornado hit the place with all the radios and boxes and paperwork going on. But we still got the guys coming up the 22nd, going for another certification test in Tallulah, up there at Delta. That's our closest one that we'll have there. Outside that, training is continuing. Staying on top of that. Me and a couple of the other chiefs around the parish are coming out, that PIAL insurance rating people, they're coming out with a new addendum for 2017. And we're trying to get our hands on that. They've got a conference coming up in Marshville here soon. I want to try to be able to go to that and see what we can pick up, because there's going to be some changes made, and we want to try to stay on top of it, you know, as soon as possible, so we go ahead, and if we need to, go ahead and get something implemented regarding that, instead of being, you know, like the last minute trying to jump through hoops, things like that. So we're staying on top of that as much as we can. But
as far as our runs and everything that we've had since last meeting, private or house fire calls or things like that, we've had 3 in town, 1 out of town. Grass fires, we've had 1 in town, 1 outside of town. We've had 1 rescue call outside of town. Fire alarms, those are starting to pick up just a little bit, not that bad. 1 in town, 1 out of town. And mutual aid to other departments, 1 right out of town, and smoke detectors we've installed. We got back into that program, picked up and on that, and we have installed 4 inside the city limits. And total calls, well, it's been slow, it hasn't been real busy, thank goodness. In-town calls, we've had 9. Out of town, we've had 5. Total be 12. And year-to-date, 90. Like I said, calls for month 12 gives me a total of 102 calls we've had so far. And stay on top of the equipment and training as much as possible. And that's about the end of mine.
Now, you are down how many firemen?
Do I need?
How many positions? Where are you position-wise?
Right now, everything's covered, all the shifts are covered. Mentioned, me and the mayor spoke in the past, we did have 1 man, we called him a floater, to where he would catch up on vacation or sick. And me and the mayor stayed on top of it, and what I implemented is a part-time program, or part-time or contract labor. Got other guys coming in to certify to cover the shift, and compared to what we was paying in overtime to the men right now, bringing overtimers in cheap. We're paying them a good wage, but we're saving in overtime, saving in insurance, and saving in retirement. And actually, that 1 position that I did have, we got it covered without having to pay a full-time floater, I guess you want to say. I've saved that money that way. And there's been a couple other things I'm checking into. Trying to, I guess, pinch pennies in where we can. Try to change stuff up, but it's going to be a good change. I mean, it's nothing, work on just having to take, step by step and see how it goes.
In your search for grants and money and things, have you came up with anything, any ideas about how we could possibly get a new fire truck?
Spoke with the mayor here the other day, we just lightly touched base on it, and I've checked with 3 different fire companies, and they're all located within the state of Louisiana. One of them's Pereira Fire down in Holden, one of them's Bonaventure down in Rain, and the other one is 5 Alarm Fire Company in Lafayette, or Houma, I'm sorry. And different departments nowadays, and we all know, the money is not there. To try to go out and buy a $500,000 fire truck or $250,000 fire truck. It's just not there anymore to go, okay, we want that truck, and we'll write a check for it, and we're done, thank you. What the departments are doing now is basically like buying a car. Somebody goes buys a car, you pay monthly notes. In this case, they work with you or work with municipalities where they set up annual payments. Say, almost either very little interest or no interest. Just depends on which route you go with that. I want to get back with them, but where we're looking at that, say, on a $250,000 fire truck, we could do or they say, other municipalities have done it, like 25,000 a year. And it's broke it down over a 10-year span. And at the end of 10 years, that vehicle's paid. It's like a lease purchase. And then say, if we wanted to, just keep that going. And every 10 years, we could have a new fire truck, one going out the front door, another one coming in the back door. And wouldn't have, wouldn't be much of a bind on nobody. We could do it that way.
Is that something that we could look at, I really sincerely am asking a question that I don't know.
Well, now, excuse me, Kay, but I mean, want to get further into it, I'd be glad to get one of the guys up here, and they can really get further into it. That's what they do for business. They sell fire trucks, and they've got different avenues that they could explain.
My question is, can we go into a lease type?
That's why we purchased both our backhoes.
Okay.
That's right.
You
We got
just
to
have
work
to-
on the pay.
You have to put it in your budget. And like Sammy said, it's a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Once you commit yourself,
Yeah.
but also, I like the idea of one fire truck going out the front and one coming in the back.
Well, and y'all have, understand that my oldest truck that I've got over there is a 1970 model.
Yeah.
And that's the oldest truck I've got now, to be in mind. Now we've got, and the newest truck we've got is a 99, and it's 16 years old.
Yeah.
And they're in good shape. They're in good shape and everything.
It's a good program. We have to see if we have $25,000 that we can commit each year, to that.
Well,
and that's going to take some investigating and see just where we can get some from here, get some from there.
Well, Mayor, if it don't look like what we're coming right up on our new budget here. Let's see how this year goes. I want to work with everybody, see, how our monies go this year. Because right now, what we've got over there, Lord forbid, we're good. I may have a motor blow up in one of them or something like that. That's, unforeseen. But I spoke with the mayor. We just see how everything goes this year with what budget I've got. And then next year, that'll give us some breathing room. Because I know we're right at the end of, trying to get everything in our budget for this year. But it'd just be something for us to be able to look at. And that way, we can implement it and have it set to where, that will strictly be designated for, a truck. And then it goes on down the road, Lord forbid, ain't none of us here, that'll still be going, and the citizens of the city will be protected. And we will have good equipment.
When will your equipment be paid for?
I'll have to check on that last backhoe and see. Should be next couple of years.
How long have you had it? Lease for?
Second one we got is probably 6 years old. No, it's older than that.
And how much do you
About
pay for
8.
it?
Ma'am,
How much are you paying for it?
I think we're paying somewhere around 2,000.
Which would be right at 24,000 for a year. Okay, it just thought, throwing it out
Well,
there.
and call myself putting back in, please forgive me, but I, come up with that, for 25 or 10 years. Craig, Ms. Cade, all of us, Mr. Lois, it's just other departments around here now. I can, be more than be glad to ride with, just up here at Baskin, the little village of Baskin. They had purchased a truck out of Tennessee. Marvelous truck. I'd be proud to have it at my station. 25,000. Never that. It's stuff like that. I'm saying new truck, but I want to do right, and I don't want to get no piece of junk, but I want to, get us something good for our money.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion, we accept the fire chief monthly report.
Me too. Been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Police chief monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For the month of 4/1/2015 to 5/17/15, criminal charge we had 64, total for the year 227. Traffic charges 67, total for the year as of now 419. We had 12 highway accidents, 4 parking lots, total accidents 16, cost served 508. Yes, that's all.
I make a motion that we accept the police chief's report.
I second it.
Been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Humane officer's monthly report. Humane officer could not be present tonight. He did give his report out of the
The main office monthly report from 4/11/15 to 5/11/15. Okay, do the cats first. Let's see, just have one item on the cat. Number of cats fostered for the month, 0 and 1 year to date. Now for the dogs, adopted, 5 for the month, 15 year to date. Claimed, 1 for the month, 5 year to date. Monroe, dogs taken to Monroe, 0 and 5. Died or escaped, the 0 for the month, 2 year to date. New dogs for the month, 4. Total handled for this month, 27. Pounds of food used, 450. Total animals in the pen, 12. Miscellaneous animals for the month, 7. Total calls, 50, and total dead animals in the city, 25.
I move that we accept the humane officer monthly report.
Been properly moved. Second. And second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Did you say aye?
Okay.
Let the record reflect that unanimously. Economic and Development Report, the Economic and Development Officer, Director, could not be present tonight. He is, he went to the hospital to have some medical checkups, and for that reason he wasn't able to. We don't have a report at this time. Community Center monthly report. Community Center monthly report could not be here. However, she did leave a report.
Okay, look like we have 4 events for the month of April. One wedding reception, April 4th, FP5, April 11th. Winsburg Elementary had a pre-K prom, and Billy Currington had a wedding reception. Total amount of deposits, $450, and amount of rental fees, the total is $1,050.
I make a motion we accept the community center monthly report.
It has been properly moved
Second.
and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Monthly financial report.
Okay. everybody should receive their packages on time, along with a folder of everything from Ms. K Cup's request. That packet contained everything but one item. I pulled that item and we'll be getting it back to y'all as soon as possible because it didn't have all the information as far as the conference's information requested. Other than that, that was everything. Also, Mr. Gill, we're working on your request as well. The last time that 13 was done, like March, April-ish last year, so we got to catch it up for it and give some accurate numbers. Okay.
Thanks.
The 13 was there.
Yes.
Fund balance.
Correct.
Okay.
I had a question. And that would be why we paid Bobby's Restaurant $900.
Where are you?
I'm looking for it.
It looks like you're talking about that, if I'm not mistaken, it might be that catfish supplement.
No, this would have been
Oh,
in March.
what happened with Bobby's Restaurant? We noticed doing our own searching and looking at bills and everything, they hadn't billed us for a while. So we called her and asked her why didn't we receive any bills.
Why are they billing us?
Well, the guys sometimes have to work through lunch, and Skipper can help me explain this, if they have a water leak or anything that requires the guys to work through lunch, they get lunch from Bobby's, and we have to.
So we're paying them overtime and buying their lunch? Is this standard procedure?
Been doing it for a long time.
I would. Okay.
But they didn't itemize how many lunches that was.
It was over several months. She said she didn't have a meaning for some odd reason. She was holding them for something, and I asked her, could she send them to us and not hold them? So it wouldn't be a big payment like this, and she needs to send them to us on a regular basis, so we can make regular monthly payments, not to hold them. So I actually had to call and ask her for those bills.
It just doesn't, I guess I've seen that before, but it just doesn't seem that would be a good thing to do. There's a whole lot of numbers there above budget. I said there's a whole lot of numbers that are way over our budgeted amount.
Yeah, the in general fund mostly. I was looking at, yeah. And that's on both sides, like on beer and tobacco tax income. We actually only budget 25, as of right now, we have 6,149. It's, all those have something to do with the bottom line percentage. But, and our main problem is we still have not received our reimbursement. Once we receive that, that's gonna change that number as well. I mean, Heath is here, he can help me out, and we still been trying to track that down, and we've been calling to get that money because we need it before that budget, for this budget ends.
Can I just speak on that? First off, I'd like to apologize to the mayor and council, because whenever I told y'all or recommended we do that in reimbursement, I was told it would take a couple of weeks to get it back. That's been about, 4 months ago? I'd just like to apologize and just tell you we're doing everything we can on our end to get that taken care of. There is nothing that it is waiting on the city or us. It's just strictly hung up between the FHWA, the Office of State Parks, and DOTD, between making the payment. DOTD actually cuts the check and sends the payment through the typical means that the account vendor number information that the city already has on file with them. And somewhere between FHWA In the recreational trails program at DOTD, the bars are getting crossed and it's not coming out. We've spoken with the head of the recreational trails program numerous times, trying to find out what the deal is. And he's claiming it's staffing issues on DOTD's end that are holding up the payment.
Is that something, I know our legislators are busy in Baton Rouge, is that something a legislator may help if requested by someone from the city or could look into it and maybe push it through?
Wouldn't hurt. I can't speak to that one way or the other. It wouldn't hurt to.
That's what they're there for.
But I'd just like to go on record and say I apologize for that. It was my recommendation. Y'all made that payment, and I was under the impression it would be a much shorter time frame turnaround for that, and I apologize.
While we're on the subject of finances, I want to be removed from the Finance Committee. I believe that we should have been, as a council, should have been notified that the legislative auditor was here. We were not. And I do not understand why we weren't. We were in a meeting the night that they came that day. And I just really don't feel comfortable sitting on on that committee anymore, and I'd like to be removed. Thank you. Now I'm gonna shock Julie. I make a motion, we accept the finance.
What? What?
Come on, Kathy.
No, you what? I've already objected to the numbers 15 times.
Thank you. It's been properly moved.
Second.
And second. All in favor, say aye. Opposes? Let it be recorded that almost unanimously approved of the financial report.
First
How
time.
about
Thank y'all.
That's your first one.
Yes,
That's the first one.
Let y'all want me to look some more.
No, we can adjourn to Mayor Wolf.
I'll
I'll move.